Hello, English as a Second Language 9280 Oxford Board Writing Paper Letters. Let's have a look at this question, which we'll analyze in the next page, and let's comment on the student's response. The question said, write a letter to a friend asking them to help you with the voluntary work. You must write about. So in the introduction we agreed that we will get this part from the introduction, that we are producing voluntary work. This is the introduction. Well, tell my friend the purpose of my writing, why I am writing the letter. The bullet points must be covered in the body paragraphs. Okay, let's see what we should include in the next body paragraphs. Number one, what the voluntary work is. So you'll define him, or will tell the candidate, the reader, that what the voluntary work is, which kind it is, and why you want to do the voluntary work. The reasons for why you selected this kind of voluntary work to take part in. And here, why your friend should help. The third point always is the one which must be extended. Pay attention to that. So the third bullet point is the one in which you can expand and stretch. Let's see the candidate's response here and comment on each paragraph. The candidate, he started by Dear Farah. This is the name of the recipient, your friend. Hey, good. I'm writing to tell you that I'm doing some volunteer work and I need your help. This is the purpose of writing the letter as we agreed. Why you write. But first of all, the beginning of the letter is really tough. He directly went deeply into the point. Already he told him that volunteer work, or the purpose of writing this letter, is for volunteer work. Okay, so this is the introduction. The introduction needs what? The introduction needs a way of communication, or communicative language. Communication. So how can we know that this letter is friendly? And the student didn't show any friendly tone in the introduction. Then he started his body paragraph here, in which he is supposedly to cover what? Bullet point number one. So the first bullet point should be covered in this paragraph. He already started doing this, but is he successful? Let's see. I decided that I want to make food boxes. Look at this expression, make food boxes for poor people. As you see here, ideas are not really clear, and the level of language is really childish. Make food boxes for poor people. He can use various expressions rather than saying make food for boxes for the poor people. And here he said, who don't find food. This is redundancy. The idea, redundancy. What we mean by redundancy? Repetition, because he already told us the poor people, so logically we know that poor people don't find food. So as if the candidate, he is just stating the obvious, and we don't need that. Okay, I think this is such an amazing thing to do, as they will become happy since they are in a bad need for this. Look here, the first idea ended here. what is the voluntary work is. He told us that the voluntary work is making food boxes for the need people, as if the student here is just identified or defined what voluntary work is with no expanding or expansion of ideas. As you see here, the student didn't explain an idea, didn't support any idea, and we mentioned that idea should be developed. So there is no development of ideas. He didn't explain what kind of boxes is helpful to people, how this kind of volunteer work is beneficial to this kind or this category of people. Logically, each idea must be in a single paragraph. So pay attention to paragraphing here. The student didn't follow the paragraphing. What paragraphing is? It means that you should specify a single paragraph for each idea. So logically, the student must skip a line or start here for paragraph 2. Bullet point 2 asked you to do what? Here is bullet point 2, why you want to do the voluntary work. So in this part he is explaining reasons for why he chose this kind of voluntary work. He said here, I think this such an amazing thing to do. Why? He said, as they will became, and this is become, they will become happy since they are in a bad need for this. By the way, the idea is somehow developed by saying this is an amazing thing to do, and he used as a complex sentence here by saying they'll become happy since they are bad need for this. Let's again and again comment on the vocabulary. There is no variety of vocabulary. He said again here, supposedly idea should be ended here. So no paragraphing, it means there is no clarity, as ideas are not clear, and dividing ideas in separate paragraphs is a kind of clarity, and ideas are just mixed as if they are one unit. The student here jumped into bullet point 3 by saying why you want your friend to do this voluntary work with you. I want you to help me with this. Oh, really silly sentence, because as you know, it's a little bit hard, but I'm sure we will be chuffed to bits. Good idiom. But as you see here, he told his friend that he wanted him to help him. Why? Because he told him that it's a little bit hard. Is this a logical reason? Is this a strong way to persuade your friend to participate in this kind of work? Sure, no. Definitely no. It's a really weak reason. You want your friend here to help you just because the work is hard? Terrible. So the reason here is really weak, and it's not convincing. Not convincing. So we can say again, idea here is not well developed. Ideas are not well developed. Then finally he told him, don't forget to write me back and tell me your opinion, and I'll be over the moon if you agreed. Again, the student used he and idioms. So somehow a bit showing informal register. But as you see, cheers and your name Heidi. Again, let's see the overall comment on this answer. 4 marks for out of 6 for language. Language is really weak. And 4 marks out of 6 for the content. No clarity, ideas are not developed, no variety of sentence structures, sentence are not linked really very well or effectively using the linking words. Let's see the overall comment, by the way. Number 1, he said, there is coverage of key points, and the student already wrote about the key points because we already found each bullet point is written but not well or effectively covered. Content and communication. Here is the point. Regarding to content and communication, there is a delay in content and communication. What we mean by delay, we mean that ideas are not very well covered and not very well clear and not developed. So there is delay in communication. Why? Because already there is grammatical errors and there is as well clarity errors. The spelling is accurate, okay, because spelling is evaluated, and this is one specification of clarity. Here there is some success with variety of vocabulary, but it's still weak. Vocabulary is still weak, and grammatical structures used. We said he developed only one paragraph using the grammatical structures, using the complex sentence. Let's see the comment on the language. The language used is really simple. As we said, it's already childish. Let's say even it's silly level of language. We mean here it's not advanced. And punctuation is not as well accurate in the degree it's required. Let's see how students get the full mark in the next video and how they avoided these mistakes, and also we're gonna explain and analyze the overall comment of examiners on this response for another candidate. See you and goodbye. Here is the question. Let's see and comment and analyze the candidate's response and why this candidate got the full mark for his response, why he awarded 12 out of 12 marks. To compare it to the question and the student response in the previous video. Here is the question again. To just remind you, write a letter to a friend asking them to help you with the voluntary work. Here are the bullet points. You must write about what the voluntary work is and why you want to do the voluntary work and why your friend should help. To analyze the question, as we agreed earlier, number 1, a friend, so it means the piece of writing is informal writing. Asking them to help, so it means you will use a request language and request expressions. With the voluntary work, it means your main topic is about a voluntary work in which you will provide it in your introduction. So in your introduction in the letter, you would refer to the voluntary work and the reason for writing. In the bullet points body paragraphs of the letter, so you must cover the 3 bullet points in the body paragraph. To be sure that the style of language is informal. And who is your targeted audience? Your audience is a friend. The topic is about what? Asking for help with the voluntary work. Pay attention to that. Reminder, your piece of writing is assessed based on the content and communication, which means that the response is relevant and detailed. Very important. to be relevant and really detailed and developed piece of writing. And communicate is clear, there is no vague ideas and there is no delay in communication. Also, full coverage of the key points. You must cover the 3 bullet points equally. And in term of language, 6 points. Spelling and punctuation are accurate. So in term of accuracy, it's really important to focus on accuracy. Also, using wide variety and appropriate vocabulary, which commented before as to be advanced and complex vocabulary. And in terms of grammar, you should use complex structures of grammar, not that simple one. Okay, here is the response of the student. The student here said, Dear Sally, greetings. How is it going? A good way of informal style. I am very sorry I haven't written for ages. This is a way to start your letter, which is apologize. The student in the previous response didn't start in this way, but it's just till the end of the week when I will finish exams, and this is why he didn't write to his friend for this period of time. So you apologized for your friend for why you didn't write for this ages or for weeks or for a couple of months and so on. Provide the reason for why. What is your excuse for not writing? Well, good way of informal beginning, and it's an excellent way of or to show variety of sentence starters. To start your sentences in different way. We'll see and comment on this again. Indeed, your help. I need your help. So he told him here that he needs his help. About what? Last week I found a charity. This is what is the voluntary work. This is related to bullet point 1. Last week I found a charity for homeless people that actually has an amazing reputation. Full stop. This sentence is a good way to use complex grammatical structures. Okay. Punctuation is excellent. Ideas are clear. Can you believe that? This is a way of creating interest or a way to personalize your writing, to show the informal tone. Okay. It took part in almost all of the voluntary work related to homeless people in Egypt. Full stop. So again, he used here a complex structures of sentence, and this is a good way to get the full mark. Of course, he again started his sentence with an introductory phrases like well and like of course. You will ask about what specifically they do. Here he didn't tell him directly that what this volunteer work is doing, what it's targeting, but he used a friendly tone. How he created the friendly tone here? By asking him a question as if he is chatting or talking to his friend. Then he said, but let me surprise you. Again, he is addressing his friend directly as if he is talking to him directly, and this is a good way of informal style. Everything. He will tell him everything. Starting with educating people about how to help homeless and ending with raising money and sending some to homes built by the government. What do you think of this idea? This idea is very well developed. Ideas are very clear. Complex ideas are clarified in a perfect supported way. So he supported his ideas here by explaining in a developed way. He explained or illustrated what kind of voluntary work is he doing, and what kind of work this voluntary work is specialized in. Good way. He moved here to develop another bullet point. Okay, he developed another bullet point here. He said, number 2, it's Sally, the whole idea that there are some young girls and boys out here in the streets with no place to call home just hurts me. This idea, the second bullet point for why you will take or participate in this volunteer work. He developed the idea of the reason that people who are homeless hurts him, but he introduced his idea in a great and developed manner. He said here that the whole idea that there are some young girls and boys out there in streets with no place to call home just hurts me. This is why he didn't tell him directly, I decided to participate in this volunteer work to participate the people who don't have homes. Okay, this is a really boring and dull way to develop idea, but this way is a really interesting way to develop it. And this shows that the student is capable of using the complex and advanced language. How can we just ignore the fact that they deal with many issues? They aren't supposed to face such young age. I mean that we must help them. Here he is explaining the idea of helping these homeless people because they are not supposed to suffer in this early age. To be honest, this is an introductory phrase again. Introductory phrase. What encouraged me to ask for your help is that. Here is he trying to cover the bullet point number 3, that why you ask your friend or why your friend must be in help. He said, what encouraged me to ask more for your help is that I know you have been searching for some volunteer work to do. So here it is. So he told him that why I asked you for your help, because I knew that you are looking for that kind of volunteer work. You and I will meet there and they will give us some tasks to do. As simple as that. Trust me. He said trust me as well, that it is an informal way. He is chatting with his friend, and he ended his letter by saying, waiting to hear from you. Waiting to hear from you. As you see here, the whole response is a kind of perfect response. Let's see the examiner comment here. He said, communication is clear. We commented on this point that all ideas are clear. There's no delay in communication. All ideas are clear and there's none of vague ideas that need to be clarified by the writer. And response is relevant. Already the student covered the 3 bullet points. As we know here, ideas are detailed as we commented, and he used as well a wide variety of appropriate vocabulary, and also the grammatical structures are perfect. The student has written more words than is needed. We know that the maximum number of words he is giving us is 70 words, and here the student has exceeded the word limit. But let's see that the word limit here is just approximate, as the mark scheme referred to. Yet the standard of the work doesn't reduce, and the examiner has to credit all work produced. It means that you will be marked and you will be rewarded based on all what you write, even if you exceeded the word limit. However, it's recommended to commit to the suggested word number. He has said any work you produce will be credited. It's better to commit to the suggested word count. Wait us for next tutorials about a successful tips of how to write a full mark letter, a grade 9 letter, from the introduction to the end. Enjoy your day and goodbye.